All right? All right, everyone. One of us in this room is indeed a vampire, and we have to figure out who it is.
Murder mystery theater has been around since before movies switched from black and white to color. The audience witnesses the crime and then tries to identify the culprit.
It's a massage chair!
And there is no shortage of laughs during a recent performance by Mystery's Most Wanted at the Spaghetti Warehouse in the Strip District. Engaging and often hugging his audience has been Randy Oliva's primary goal since founding Mystery's Most Wanted 17 years ago. One of his first hires was fellow actor and writer David Fielding.
It's always been my job to sort of make Randy laugh. So I'm always trying to write stuff for the shows that just puts Randy on the floor.
Marcy's going to require a little bit more persuasion.
Did you say myrrh?
I did say myrrh.
Kathy Miller Haynes spends her days as a librarian at the University of Pittsburgh. At night, the Wilkinsburg mother performs roles ranging from Maid Marian to a mobster's mole. David, Kathy, and Randy are 3 of 15 actors who try to outwit their audiences night in and night out.
Well, it's you, girl, and you should know it!
This is what I put up with all the time.
It's a job that's brought all of them closer together.
The long-running joke with us as cast members is that we'll stay with Mystery's Most Wanted until we have to be wheeled out on stage, and that we'll still be playing characters that really should only be played by little 20-somethings with much better physiques than us, well into our 80s.
My predecessor had gone to Vassar, and there was a stained glass window at Vassar that showed a woman here with townspeople around her looking up at her, and she always wondered, who is that woman? What did she do? And what she learned was that she had been the first woman in the world to earn a university degree, and that was at the University of Padua in 1678. And so when this room was being planned, her idea was to focus on Elena Lucrezia Cornaro Piscopia. The room just was dedicated and put into service as a classroom in 1943. It was worked on from before World War II, and so it was not complete. For example, the portrait on the rear wall had not been completed and could not be shipped here anyway because the Atlantic was not exactly a peaceful ocean. Some of the style is ecclesiastic, and the ceiling comes from a convent in Pesaro. The chalkboard doors cover what could be a closet for priestly garments, an armadio. On the chairs, the very first chair here is the oldest university in Italy, and that is the University of Bologna in 1088. And then every chair has a university on its back. It was the good things they brought to America. I mean, their philosophy of education, their religion, their science, and all of that. So education is still important in this room.
There are 2 issues with skin cancer. One, obviously, as most people are aware, is the concern about sun exposure. And so patients that have an excessive sun exposure are at heightened risk for both squamous cell and basal cell carcinoma. Melanoma is a little bit more complicated in the sense that there's a clear genetic component as well as sun exposure component. Melanoma is very uncommon in the African American population. And when it does occur, it is going to be more frequently a melanoma involving the palms of the hand or the soles of the feet, so-called acral lentiginous melanoma. And the very famous reggae singer Bob Marley actually died from a melanoma. The prototypical patient for a melanoma risk is the blue-eyed blonde, or particularly the red-headed blue-eyed patient. Those folks from Scandinavian origin, people like me that have a British background, Germanic backgrounds, so that they're at much higher risk. What I tell patients is any new mole or lesion, skin lesion that is changing, getting bigger, bleeding, itching, all of those things are worrisome signs. The very first step is really, if you think you have something that you're concerned about, is to consult either a dermatologist most frequently or a surgeon. That individual will most likely, if the lesion is concerning to them, biopsy it. The material is then sent to the pathologist for analysis. The first treatment of choice is unequivocally surgery, and that entails a wide excision and more often than not an examination of the draining lymph nodes to find out if the cancer has spread. When the disease is advanced, the prognosis actually can be quite alarming and not favorable at all. However, when it's diagnosed early, one can anticipate a high rate of cure with appropriate treatment.